Here are some reasons why you should not move to the USA right now. Number one, if you're not a social media person, or you're not really on TikTok, or you're not, you're not following up what's going on between USA and China, there is a serious war. I would say the war escalations are just through the roof right now. You do not want to be in the USA when this war starts, because as an African migrant, it's not even about whether you've been there for 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 10 years. Your color, once it starts, that's when they'll remember that you're black. So now is not the time to move to USA. The second reason is the healthcare. The healthcare can get you bankrupt. To afford health insurance in the US, you need to be working a decent job to be able to afford health insurance, and just your health generally. I've seen people being billed $5,000, $2,000 for just minor cases. And ask the people there. Don't take my word for anything, just do your research. But yeah, I'm just here to keep you guys enlightened. The third reason why you shouldn't move is the current inflation. Yes, most of you are like, oh, but inflation is in Africa, it's everywhere. It is not like in the West. It is not like in the US. This is the type of inflation that if you don't have the bills to pay, if you don't have the money to pay your rent, your water, your whatsoever, you're this close to getting no house, to going broke, to going homeless. And it's not funny. Being broke in Africa and being broke in the West is a different ball game altogether. You can go and lodge with somebody, a family member. In the West, all man for himself. You are out in the cold, winter. It's not a funny thing. It's not a funny something. Another reason why you shouldn't move to the West right now is the moral decadence going on. Like, when it comes to morality, immorality, just name it, it's just going down like this. There are so many things now happening, from gender whatsoever, to those of you who are homophobic, those of you who cannot stand transgender, LGBTQ plus people. If that's not your cup of tea, do not go there. Education in shambles as well. Yes, for the most part is free, but what you're getting, you need to be keeping up with your child.
Thank you for watching. This is Afro Revolt. As always, we bring to you whatever is trending across the globe. Now, in today's video, this black African who is living in America sparked the internet and even got support from other whites and even a Chinese lady about why and the reasons why America is not a favorable country to live in. She claims that if you are not having a good opportunity to earn in America, then expect hardship and a pathetic life in America. The inflation rate in the country has gone high, and only the rich can survive in the United States. So let us watch the reaction from other women about the same and how they feel about America before we get a final reaction.
When I go to Italy and I'm like, oh my God, I could eat pizza and gelato every single day and I lose weight and feel great.
This is yet another reason why I left the US indefinitely to live in Bali. Because the US is poisoning us through our food and they don't give a fuck. Every single time I travel to a new destination and eat the exact same foods that I would eat in the US, I lose weight. And before you guys say, well, Andrea, it's because you're hiking volcanoes and you're surfing and you're being really active. No, I do the same thing in the US. I'm very active. I go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, but yet I still seem to struggle with my weight, with getting my PCOS, lupus, and hypothyroidism under control. I can eat bread anywhere around the world and not be inflamed because of the gluten. Whereas when I eat the exact same thing in the US, my face is all puffy and I start to gain weight. I'll give you an example. Red 40 is banned all throughout Europe. However, they put it in our cereals, our makeup, anything that is red, our fruit punch. According to the FDA in America, Red 40 is safe for public consumption. However, in Europe, it is banned because it leads to stomach problems, attention problems, ADD, a multitude of other health issues. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Every time you guys travel outside of the US, do you end up losing weight?
A lot of Europeans talking about how they want to move to America, and this is a list of reasons why you should not.
Okay, let's talk about this. I'm Italian, so I'm European, and I'm also a millennial, so I grew up with the whole thing of the American dream. Let's all go to prom together, and football players and cheerleaders and lockers and stuff like that. I lived it all. Also, I was lucky enough to be an exchange student in America in 2011, 2012. So I lived in America for a full year when I was 16 years old. And after a full year in America at 16 years old, when my mind was still pretty fragile, you could make me believe a lot of things. I totally agree with this girl. Now as a 28-year-old, I would never, ever live in America if I didn't have to. And on top of it, I would never, ever raise my kids in America, ever.
As someone who moved out of the USA when they were 17, I always get tons of questions about like why I moved, if I would ever go back. And yeah, I could talk about this for a really long time. I reckon one of my biggest motivators for moving away was definitely the cost of living. The cost of living in the US is absurd. Going to school or going to college there is just not, it's just impossible. My parents would have definitely supported me. However, I felt really bad when I looked into other countries and what they offered, and comparatively, it just wasn't worth staying in the US for me. I came to Sydney, Australia, and I've been here for almost 4 years now, and I absolutely love it here. Not only is the schooling here like incredibly cheaper, and I mean like probably 100 times cheaper. If I was going to be studying in the States, I would probably come out with maybe $300,000 in debt, versus my entire degree here costs around $25,000. And I think the reason why people decide to stay in the US is because when you're 17, you have no idea what you want, and you get really caught up with the idea of the American college life, and the college parties, that you don't really think about how detrimental it is going to college and how it's going to be really expensive, and you're going to be paying off your student loans for the rest of your life, versus I'm 22 now and I have $0 in debt. I would say another reason, which isn't why I wanted to move to Australia in the first place, but it's definitely going to be the reason I'm staying. I genuinely feel safe here. On the topic of safety, I feel like there's a whole spiel on that. And I think I should make a separate video on that. But yeah, let me know.
And so the narrative that America is the best place to live in is changing. And even though the blacks and mostly the Africans have been so obsessed about America and feeling that America is where their dream lies, this is not the same anymore, and people living there are even finding hard time to bring food on the table. Now, this is something that was never expected of America, and as people know, and as I know here in Africa, we have always expected that in America, once you get there, you get a ready job that is well paying, and healthcare is free, education is not stressing and straining as it is in other continents, and also the system is so enabling that everyone is free and have a life that he or she deserves. But that is proving wrong and not a fact, as we have watched in this video. These are people who have lived in America giving their side of the story and saying that they will never ever get back to America. So what is really happening in America? Is it true that the rich are the ones who deserve to live in America. So I did a video sometimes back that was talking about how the poor and the immigrants have hard life in America. This is because the jobs they get are not well paying, and also they don't have access to social amenities that will make them live better in the American environment. So if you are in America, you have to strain, you have to get extra mile to find other opportunities that will keep you going. It even calls for going after various jobs, like 2 or 3 in a day, for you to sustain your life in the United States. It's not business as usual. As Africans, we have this freedom that the natural resources is still vast here in the country. Our vegetables are still natural as compared to America. So even if people are yearning to go to the United States, I feel that Africa is still the best continent for everyone to live in. And I urge these Chinese who are complaining, the Italians who are saying that they'll never go back to Africa, to consider coming to Africa and having the real experience of good life, where equality matters and everyone is treated as a human being. You know that over time there have been complaints that Black Americans and even Latino Americans are not free or are not getting equal opportunities in the United States because they are segregated in matters healthcare, education, and various levels of engagement. So this is something that is not in Africa, and you should consider coming to our country, Kenya, and all other parts of Africa to experience what life is and what freedom of expression and doing whatever you want is. So this is a wake-up call for everyone. America might be good in the face, but when you go there, you will see what happens, and just as you've seen these guys regretting, maybe you will be also regretting. If you're watching us for the first time, kindly consider subscribing to our channel. Also like and share. Thank you, and may God bless you.